I want to ask this, and this is a super broad question. What do you think makes a good lawyer great?
So a good lawyer turning into a great lawyer is a lawyer, one that listens to their client. The client's trying to tell them how to win the case. They've lived through what it is. And you've got to develop this relationship with the client that, you're going to be together for years. None of these cases are quick. And even after the case is done, you stay family after you go through what it is that you go through. So it's about developing a relationship with your client where they know that you care and that you're fighting for them. And win or lose, they know that you have planted their flag in the ground and stood and fought with them. So I think that's like really at the core. But beyond that, in terms of being a trial lawyer, all of us have our own personalities. And, you can't be somebody you're not. But the consistent thing that you see for all great trial lawyers is preparation, preparation, preparation.
Yeah, and that focus and so you would say that's the driving force behind your success is just when you go in, you're the most prepared person in the courtroom.
100%. That is, it frees you up in the courtroom when you know your case cold. If it's an incident involving a car wreck, you've been to the accident scene, you've stood there, you've closed your eyes and just sort of listened to everything that's happening, so that there's inevitably a moment where, because you've done that type of preparation, you're going to catch somebody in something, and the jury is going to know, I can trust this person because they clearly know everything there is to know about this case. And you want the jury looking to you as being the person that they can have confidence in to tell them the truth.
I guess that allows you to be prepared for if a curveball question comes that you've covered it in all areas. I wanted to kind of switch to touch on something that you've been doing for a while, and your career's been anything but a traditional in terms of how you work with a firm. So you've been working remotely well before the pandemic in a very traditional field. We saw COVID accelerated technology, right, with like Zoom depositions
Right.
and things like that. So how did you convince those that you work with and your clients that this was the best solution for you? And how did you go about, how did you make this decision to run a remote-based firm?
Well, the what had happened was, family first, right? So back in 2012 and 2013, my wife and I made the decision that we wanted to take our kids out of school for a year and travel with them, because it was just kids were going to be headed off to college, and we had one kid that was 10 years younger than the oldest. And so, you want to create a family bond, something that's memorable for everybody. So we made that choice to do it. And again, it kind of boils down to preparation, where when you're gone, you set it up so that you're working in the morning, you work in the evening, and then late in the evening. So, you can put in 6, 7, 8 hours a day of solid work and get as much done no matter where it is that you are, as long as you're dedicated to it. And with technology being what it is, people you're dealing with have no idea whether you're down the street in another state or in another country that's there. So, and then of course, when you have to be there in person, you have to be there in person. Now, certainly things have gotten easier for us as technology has continued to evolve, and as courts now are getting better about letting lawyers appear remotely. During the worst of the pandemic, we had a lawyer in our office. She and her husband live on a boat and in a marina near where our office is. And so what they did, they took 7 or 8 months and took their boat up the east coast of the United States, and she worked from the boat. She had a setup there, twin monitors, everything that was going on, and had set up Wi-Fi. And so she was able to do that and continue to work. And when she needed to be back here, she got on a plane and flew back and did that. So you could, what we're learning is that the practice of law in all business is evolving, and technology can be good and technology can be bad. And the good part of it is the fact that it allows you to have freedom to move around and to do other things that historically you were not. So, for example, when I first started practicing law and I'm doing a medical malpractice case, I'd have to go to the local university medical school library and pull out books to read up. So you had to be close to someplace like that. Now I have the world at my fingertips in an iPad with me, so I can do that research no matter where I am, that before I had to be in a physical location to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I say this every podcast. We're all sentients, right? We all have a phone. As much as that word is kind of odd, but we have a full basis of knowledge on our mobile device or iPad. One of the things, a majority of our audience is personal injury attorneys, so they're at different levels of their career. Some have very successful practices, some are, trial attorneys. And I wanted to ask you, getting cases, business development. So I know that you talk a lot about referrals and you have a very successful litigating practice. If you had to start all over and do business development, what would be some general recommendations? And then how has your approach evolved over time?
So getting business is just like getting a verdict. You have to ask. You sort of have two pathways. There's the traditional advertising, now what we call traditional advertising. And then most of my work I get through referrals from other lawyers or clients that I've represented in the past. But when I first started practicing, and again, when I was a young lawyer, I went to all of the local advertising lawyers in Miami. And I said, hey, take a chance on me, send me a couple of cases, let me show you what it is that I can do. And people want to help somebody that's young, that has confidence in themselves, that is willing to go out and put themselves out there and ask. So you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And all of a sudden, I had 4, 5, 6 lawyers sending me a case or 2 cases a month, and quickly it accumulated. So you have to ask people to send you work. That's one thing. Today, of course, the advertising world is flooding the way. But even within that, there's still ways that you can go about and do things. There's TikTok, there are YouTube videos, things like that that you can do to make a name for yourself in a particular field. And so what I would, for somebody starting out, I would say, figure out what your niche that you want to sell yourself as. What do you want to be? You want to be the car wreck lawyer. You want to be the nursing home lawyer. You want to be the slip and fall lawyer. Whatever it is that you want to be. And start telling people that's who you are.